Welcome aboard Flight 24/7. At this time, I ask that you fasten your seatbelts for takeoff.
We're interrupting your regular programming to bring you an emergency announcement.
The bigger will scrape, but fit. Nothing can save it. Go and put a 24 on something so you can scrape it. And since I got time, what I'm about to do is tell you about a scraper on a double-sized shoe. See, a scraper is not a dunk, but it rides high through Bay Area, California as the sideshow truth. Back in the days when scraping all began, up north doing donuts, putting rubber in the wing, Buick, Regal, LeSabre, Pontiac, Bonneville, Trent, Century, Oldsmobile, Delta, 88, Riviera then, Oldsmobile, Sierra, Cutlass, Supreme, Classic Cougars, and a Pontiac Grand Prix bling on a scraper. They call it a scraper. It's called a scraper. A scraper.
A scraper is an informal term to describe a modified American-made luxury/family car, usually a General Motors model from the 1980s to current vehicles, typically enhanced with aftermarket rims. Scrapers are popular in the San Francisco Bay Area of Northern California, scraping Lexus, Chevrolet Caprice Classic, and Chevy Impalas, as well as full-size conversion vans such as the GMC Vendura. Supercharged automobiles are particularly sought after due to their high performance, usually associated with the hyphy music and lifestyle. The trend of customizing these cars were made popular by urban American youth. Scraper cars have also inspired the scraper bike movement.
Meet up at the gas station and find you a park, with the trunk vibrating about to rip it apart. Big spokes and Vogues, a gold Zenith is a start. Spin a wood grain wheel, but you best to have the heart. Mavericks, Ford Granada, scraping in a dart. Downhills, ghost riding up on the roofs of the cars. Candy paints, moon roofs tilted up so far you can smell the leather inside. AC doing its part.
Similar to dunks from the south, scrapers are highly customized with large custom rims. Custom two-tone paint is popular as of 2008, and custom interior to match the paint. Plus loud audio called slaps, with small television screens. What makes scrapers different from dunks is that dunks are typically 5th generation Chevrolet Impalas and Caprices, 4th generation Cadillac, Coupe de Villes, and 3rd generation Monte Carlos. Dunks are usually V8 engine, rear-wheel drive, full-size General Motors sedans and coupes of the 1970s and 1980s. Scrapers, on the other hand, are typically late 1980s and 1990s mid-size GM sedans.
Lowriders, long time in the scraper game. Titanium plates welded to the frames. Firework maker, light the night up, switching lanes. Three-wheeling U-turn, scrape the tailpipe again. Gas hopping the back bumper, set the street aflame. Filbo scrape, Santa Fe CFL plaque hang. Some riders lay so hard can't slide a penny under the frame, and a scraper is a lowrider's nickname.
Lowrider scraping probably all started when someone's brand new setup suddenly lost elevation and dropping to the hard concrete while the car was still in motion, and before the driver could cruise to a stop, he must have noticed the long rivers of sparks flowing from behind his car, and soon the ominous grind of metal against pavement was echoing through Los Angeles alleyways, because that original scraper was back cruising the boulevard the minute that he'd cleaned up the oily mess in his trunk. At first, lowriders were willing to sacrifice their front cross members and rear bumpers to achieve the ultimate scrape, sometimes attaching roller skate wheels on the back to cut down wear and tear.
They call it a scraper.
A local lowrider came up with the idea of welding small steel blocks, usually about 2 by 3 by 3 inches, under the front and back of the car, which could be replaced when they wore out. The scrape plates, as they were called, worked great and were improvement over replacing worn car parts. But pavement pioneers used carbon steel for their plates because it was plentiful, while carbon steel is relatively soft, and the plates still had to be replaced after a few good scrapes. A harder metal was needed that wouldn't grind down so quickly, so as the 70s progressed, the two top choices for scraping action were magnesium and titanium because of their hardness, and for the flood of brilliant white sparks, even though both were more costly and harder to come by than carbon steel.
On a scraper, lock it up in the back and lay the front and make contact with the street. Hit the gas and spark that under a scraper. Under a lowrider scraper. Under a lowrider scraper. Under a lowrider scraper.